8:30 in the Tennessee Valley, and time for this special edition of Inside Oakwood with Dr. Leslie Pollard. Welcome, Dr.
Hey,
Pollard.
good morning. Good morning, Donna. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, feeling good today.
It's a beautiful day.
It is an awesome day, nice and sunny outside. But we know, even though that is true, people are still feeling a little fearful, about things that are going on.
Yeah, absolutely, and understandably.
Right.
It's a very fearful time. Donna, the one thing all of us want in our lives is certainty.
Right.
Certainty.
Right.
And yet, there are moments when we come to there are moments in our experience where we're at the intersection of uncertainty and ambiguity. And either road that you choose, whichever way you go at that fork, there's still fear, there's still uncertainty.
Right.
And so one of the things I was thinking about this morning was when I was growing up as a little boy, in the midst of all of this fear, there used to be a show that came on back then, when I was a little boy. When I was a little boy, we had only three channels: CBS, NBC, ABC.
Right.
Not like the 500 that my children have been exposed to, but there are only three channels. So one of the channels, they had a show, and I'll never forget. Now you got to understand, New Orleans is a Catholic town.
Okay.
Right? Catholic town. So the Catholic hour would come on, and the speaker, the screen would be completely dark.
Okay.
And then from the right of the screen, you would see a hand come in with a match. And the match would be a light, and then they would put it on the candle.
Right.
And then you'd hear this beautiful baritone voice say, "It is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness."
Wow.
It is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. So the question is today for us, as we think about it, the Bible says perfect love casts out fear.
Yes.
How can we, in the midst of fear, light a candle? We can speak words of encouragement. We can say to each other, we're going to get through this.
Right.
That God is our protector. He is our refuge. He is our strength. That's what I say to myself. And if someone doesn't say it to you, say it to yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord,
yes,
right? That's
my
what
song
Yolanda
right there.
says. That's what Yolanda said. You better encourage yourself. But so if somebody else will encourage you, better encourage yourself.
Exactly.
So encourage yourself in the Lord. Encourage myself. I say, we're going to make it through this. We've had challenges before. God has been good. He didn't bring us this far to leave us.
That's
All
right.
the things we've ever learned. But remember, whenever you speak a word of encouragement to our listeners, you are lighting one candle. Because everybody can curse the darkness.
Right.
It's awful. It's terrible. It's never been like this before. Everybody can do that. But the people who will stand up and stand out are the people who can say, it is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness.
Wow.
So today, I'm lighting a candle.
Amen. We're going to light it bright. It's going to shine.
In the midst of
around.
our fear, too. May I
And
say
everybody has to share
one other thing?
Yes.
The fear is real.
Yes.
I want to say that. The fear is real. We all feel it. I just before this year we came on, I was saying to you that I'm afraid too.
Right. Yeah, we all feel that.
I'm afraid.
We feel it.
But one thing I've always chosen in my life, to never let fear paralyze me.
Right. Can't let it control you.
You can't let it control you. So one of your favorite songs, I've heard you many days.
I just played it a little bit.
Oh, you didn't? I love that song. I love that song.
I might play a little bit more of it later.
Fear is a liar.
Yes, I love
Fear
that.
is
you
a
gotta
liar.
believe it. And if you get that in your soul, it'll help you pull out.
It'll help you pull out. It'll help you pull out. So today we're talking about reentry. We're talking about reentry.
Yes.
And we're talking about how the institution is responding to the concerns of many of our constituents, our students, our faculty, our staff, and our administration.
Right.
That's what we do. We do that. So today I'm happy that Eboni is on.
Yes, Eboni is here.
Our health
Eboni.
service director is here.
Yes.
And when we talk about reopening, that's one thing. We had an extensive schedule. We've got an extensive reopening plan.
Right.
And ultimately, that boils down to, as per the reopening plan, what page is that?
Page 4.
Page 4. And if you have a copy, if you want to go to our website, you can click on COVID. You can see the institution's reopening plan.
Right.
We've laid it out in extensive detail. Now we're kind of at so when I come, what do I do?
Right.
When I come, what do I do now? Okay,
Right.
I get this. I have confidence. Clearly, the university spent a lot of time working on creating a culture of safety and protection.
Right.
So now, when I come, what do I do?
And that's going to happen on August 1st when all the students August 1st is when the students should be coming on campus.
Because we've got our on August 1st, we've got our COVID protected graduation service.
Right, exactly.
A single service on Saturday night. in which, after we interviewed our families and our students by polling them, we found that 73%, I get those two turned around, 73% said we really would like to have some sort of safe ceremony. Sort of safe ceremony.
Okay.
And so that's what we've set up. And I've said to my friends, if you come, you tickets. Karen will be here Monday to talk about
and
that.
that's going to be where, by the way?
Von Braun Civic Center,
okay.
August 1st.
Okay.
It's ticketed only. Von Braun seats 10,000 people.
Right.
There will only be 2,500.
Okay, because they have already had the seats kind of arranged, so you can be 6 feet apart.
Yeah, you got to be apart.
Yeah, is it 4 seats per group? Or do you know?
I don't remember. Karen will tell us on Monday.
Yeah. So I think that's how they do it for the high school.
I think it's four. I think it's four. So you end up. It's going to be cavernous.
Yeah.
But that's what safety looks like.
Yeah.
There won't be anybody on stage. The Aeolians are preparing a special selection virtually.
Okay.
You won't have an assembled choir. It'll be different. It'll be different.
It's going to be really different, but it's going to be good.
But it'll be good.
It'll be good.
Different
and
and
the
good.
Students the graduates are going to really appreciate that.
They do. And guess what? If you don't want to participate in that, if you feel like it's too early.
Well, everybody can't come anyway.
Everybody can't come anyway. But even among students, if you decide that, families decide, we will also recognize your graduate at the 2021 graduate.
Okay.
So we want our families to know that there are options.
Okay.
If you don't want to come to the university, if you feel like I'm just so uncomfortable, then virtual becomes your option.
Right.
To continue your matriculation from home, but you can also do it virtually. So we have that. That was announced this week, that you're able to also take our coursework at home. So again, it's being nimble, it's being flexible, it's being responsive to the cares and the concerns, and yes, even the fears of many of our families. So we want to be responsive.
Right. All right. So how's this going to look as we re-enter, Eboni? How's this going to look as we begin to and plan to re-enter the campus? What is it going to look like?
And let's say a little bit about Eboni. So for those who may not have heard before, she's our Director of Health and Counseling Services.
Yes.
And say a little bit about your background, Eboni, so that for those who are tuning in for the first time, they can get to me. I
didn't even realize it was Eboni the last time she talked with us on Monday. And I kept thinking, I know Eboni, but is this the same Eboni?
Yeah, this is the same person.
All right, Eboni, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am an Oakwood alum. I graduated class of 2008. So we were the first university class. I practiced at Huntsville Hospital.
Yeah.
I was a nurse on the med-surg floor as well as the ER for several years. And then I'm currently a nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner, board certified.
At Huntsville Hospital?
I practiced at Huntsville Hospital, nursing at Huntsville Hospital.
Okay, you're still there.
For over 10 years. No, I'm no longer there.
Oh, wait.
I left December when I came here and took this job. I left Huntsville Hospital, so I'm no longer there. But
welcome home.
I'm kind of welcome home, but I'm kind of sad because it was really nice to see her in the hospital. You know, if I had to come there with my parents or something like that.
It was nice to be there, to be a familiar face.
Right, exactly. But now you're on our campus. You're at home now.
Yes,
and
full circle.
All right, yeah, that sounds good. So you put together this plan for how we're going to re-enter. How's that? How does it look? Tell us about it.
Okay. Well, students will be required to have a COVID test before they come to campus. That result should be presented 7 to 14 days before their expected arrival on campus. That's faculty, staff, and students. They can either email their results at ouhs@oakwood.edu. That's ouhs@oakwood.edu. Or they can bring that hard copy.
Okay.
Now, some students will say, well, some states don't allow you to get tested without being symptomatic. And that's okay. We can test you once you get here.
Oh, okay.
Our desire is for everyone to be tested before, but we know the circumstances may not allow you to do so. So you can get tested once you get here.
Okay. So got a question about that already. So if they can be tested, they need to be tested this week.
Yes.
Because August 1st is just
around the corner.
right.
Right. August 5th is when I think.
August
students
5th.
will return. Yeah.
So
So August 1st, I think, is graduation,
Is
and then
graduation.
students start coming back August
So
5th.
this week is really a good time to go ahead and get your tests, and so you can have your results and ready to email them back.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So students will also be required to complete an e-learning module just to kind of familiarize yourself with what are the policies at Oakwood and then what it looks like for symptoms of COVID-19.
Okay.
In addition, they'll complete a pre-screening questionnaire. They'll just go over the symptoms. Have you been exposed to COVID-19? Have you tested positive within 7 to 14 days of COVID-19? And some of those similar questions.
Okay.
There also is going to be an app they'll download, and we'll send that information out soon. That app will allow you to complete questionnaire daily for you to monitor your symptoms, so we can just kind of keep track, and so you can be aware of what your symptoms are and if there are any changes, so that we can identify what date those changes were and go from there as far as contact tracing. When students arrive, there'll be a screening facility. There'll be a tent outside the main inside the gate, and we'll be able to check temperatures. Any visitors that they have with them, they'll also have to complete a health questionnaire. We'll take their temperature as well. And at that point, if they're cleared, they'll be able to receive a packet, which will provide an OU mask. It'll be branded, so you'll have a university mask and hand sanitizer as well in that packet, and they'll be able to proceed to the next step, which is moving in the dorm.
Okay. Okay.
If they're financially cleared, they can go into the dorm by appointment. And if they're not financially cleared, we'll still be able to help them. They'll be able to go to Cunningham for that process. Everything is a one-stop shop in there. They'll be able to complete that process and then again move into the dorm by appointment.
Okay. Now, so the folks that are coming in that aren't able to get their test and have it emailed to you, they're going to come in, they're going to be tested in this tent and everything. Do they have to quarantine, and how do they go to a different place? You know, how's that handled?
So
For their 14 days, is that right? Those that are coming in that have to be tested once they get here, do they still have to quarantine or be isolated for those 14 days?
That 7 to 14
7 to
day
14.
window.
Okay.
So that is our goal, for them to be quarantined for 7 to 14 days. So school doesn't start right away. So when they arrive, they'll have some time to be sheltered in place in their dorm room. And then there'll be some options offered virtually as far as orientation, what that looks like. There'll be activities and things involved that will be virtual, so that we can social distance and keep that risk low.
Sounds like you've got a lot of staff on board, too, to take care of all this, Dr. Pollard.
Well, we do.
Yeah.
We have people who are helping. We have
Yeah.
people who are ready and committed to being involved. I'm thankful to Eboni and the Public Health Committee and the Health Services team for working out the stepwise protocols that are needed in order to give families clear direction. And these, for those who are listening, these will be printed and emailed to every family. They will be posted on the website as well. Okay. They'll be communicated through USM platforms. We'll use Twitter and Instagram and all the others so that everybody is saturated with what it is that needs to happen. We want to make sure that in the midst of a pandemic, one of the things that's really important is clarity.
Right.
It's clarity of communication and frequency of communication. And that's why, if you look through this virus, we've intensified our communication, whether it's inside Oakwood, whether it's all the communication we're sending out via electronic media. We've been actually intensifying the frequency and the clarity of our communication. That's very important.
Right.
That's very important.
Right. So let's talk about the reentry just a little bit more, about other people that are coming, faculty, staff. You know, what are their requirements?
Yes,
and guests
absolutely. So
as well.
similar requirements, because and Eboni can say something about this
Yeah.
as well. That would be the HR side of the equation. So Eboni is working principally on the student side of the equation, but HR. So here is the big reality, right? It doesn't make sense to have some people tested and other people not tested.
Right,
It just doesn't make any public health sense. So the same kinds of expectations will be brought to us as employees, including me.
Okay.
That my wife has already been tested. And I didn't even know she was going to be tested, but she went and did it, right? Okay, right. Like most husbands,
Right,
wish,
and
wish she had
wives,
told you, then I would have followed it out there and gotten my test,
Right.
like most husbands would do, but like every good husband does. But at the same time, so we'll need to know our status as well.
Okay.
Because again, we're trying to protect
Right.
the entire
Right.
campus community.
Right.
The virus is indiscriminate.
Right.
And so we all need to do every precaution that we can do to make sure the campus is safe
Right.
and make sure that each of us is helping keep each other safe.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. That kind of puts fear in your heart because you got to go get tested. And then, what if you find out you are asymptomatic,
Well,
and you've
then-
been walking around all this time?
Well,
that's
then-
a
Well, hopefully you
scary
were
thought.
practicing social distancing,
Exactly.
wearing your
Right,
mask.
right.
That's why it's important.
That's
Right.
right. And Eboni can answer all those questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Our doctor, nurse practitioner can tell us exactly what we should do.
What should we do if we go and we get tested? We've been on campus. We've been essential employees and staff and faculty or whatever, and then we go get tested. Now we're asymptomatic, and what do we do in that situation?
So if you do test positive, you want to notify your employer. If you're faculty or staff, notify your employer. If you're a student, you're going to not return to campus until you get a negative test.
Oh wow!
So you want to
right.
you want to isolate during that time frame, and then once you get that negative test, you're clear to return to campus as a faculty and staff or arrive as a student.
Now we know that sometimes that could be 30 days, right, before they're cleared.
Well, Eboni, what's the current wait time for the receipt of results?
Yeah.
So it depends on where you are. Currently, it can take about 7 days. Some have a faster turnaround. I think one of our employees had a test and they got their results within the 24-hour window.
Okay.
So it all depends.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like we're going to have a response to every situation. Hopefully, we pray. Maybe there's something we don't, catch right, before everything starts. But it looks like we got a pretty good plan. So as students now, they're beginning to enter into their dorms. What's that process and what is it going to look like as far as social distancing and things like that?
Okay. When they move in, they're only going to be allowed 2 guests with them. Those guests will also have to make sure they wear a mask. And then we'll have to have their information so that we know these visitors were with this student during this time. Okay. When they're in the dorms, they'll be responsible for socially distancing. They are not allowed to have any visitors in their room. So the only person allowed in their room are their roommate. And so that means no more than 2 persons per room. Okay. Any gathering larger than 2 people or outside of your roommate.
Yeah,
need
like
to be-
parents and
yeah,
stuff.
like
They're going to be
parents that-
coming in trying to set up rooms and all that. They're allowed, but they have to be tested as well, right?
They're not going to be tested, but we'll check their temperature.
Okay.
Any visitors that come, we'll check their temperature, and they'll have to fill out a questionnaire, a health screening questionnaire, kind of similar to what you would do if you went to a doctor's office.
Okay. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
So any gathering larger than outside of your roommate, that will have to take place in common areas. And then again, you will have to practice social distancing and wear a mask during that time frame as well, and maintain 6 feet distance.
Okay. All right. Ooh, this is such a huge change, for our normal that we know we're going to have some struggles with people, actually following these rules, though. So how are we going to handle that?
So with
You got some police walking around saying, hey, wait. You got the COVID-19 police? I don't know.
Well, they don't plan on policing. We
Right,
encourage
okay.
everyone to see something, say something. So
Okay.
if you see your friend not practicing social distancing without a mask, we encourage you to say something as well.
Okay.
So the police do not plan on policing, be the COVID police, because this is a stressful time for everyone.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So we are planning to offer, we have a counselor on staff, so they can call and make appointments at any time during our opening hours.
Okay.
In addition, we plan on having stress rooms. Those stress rooms will have essential oils, misting,
Nice.
and
You said essential
calming
oils.
music.
Love that.
Where's
this room?
I know, right? There'll be several rooms around campus that will be designated for
Wow.
that. And then, of course, we will clean that room between students.
Use of it.
Yeah, between use of it to make sure that we mitigate the risk. In addition, we'll have dorm visits, we'll have mental check-ins by Zoom or face-to-face in order to kind of help alleviate that stress that students will probably have.
Wow, I'm still thinking about them oils, man.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good
love
thing. Now, one of the questions that we often get, Donna, is this, or questions like this. So and so, school A is doing A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
Is Oakwood doing A, B, C, and D? And then someone will say, well, school C is doing F, G, H, and I. Is Oakwood doing F, G, H, and I?
Right.
So one of the things we've learned, I was in a meeting the other day with 100 university presidents. There are as many strategies for how to manage this as there are schools involved.
That's true.
And there's no single shot kind of event, a single kind of strategy. So we're working with some companies that are bringing on products for hygiene, et cetera, et cetera. And we're working with those companies in order to make sure that we have the safety protocols that get us to the standards of safety that the Centers for Disease Control actually recommends. So that's really important because I want to say that for families, because families often say, well, I heard so-and-so is doing so-and-so. Yeah, but okay, so Oakwood's doing...
you hear it,
but... but Oakwood's doing this.
Right.
Are they doing that? Right, so
Right.
Oakwood's doing this. We've got two major companies who are working with us in terms of campus sanitization.
Right.
So that's what we're doing. So are they using that?
Right,
and then
right,
the person
right.
will smile. I say, you see how it is? I can always find someone who's doing something
Right.
and then say, this is what we should be doing.
Right.
But you can't do everything that
Right.
everybody's doing because
Right.
everybody's doing something different.
Exactly.
But what we are doing meets the standard.
Right.
And there are many ways to get to the standard of CDC.
And it's the best you could do.
That's
at this
really
point.
that's what's
Right.
important. That's really
We're
important.
doing the best we can with what we have, and I think it's a great plan. All right, so a lot of people are fearing this and coming on campus, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah, of course, of course.
gonna be
We
okay.
have to navigate a reality that's not changing. So yesterday, I'm listening to CNN, and it pops up on my phone, and of course, the famous now Dr. Fauci
Yeah.
is actually reflecting on the situation, and he's saying there will not be. He does not anticipate a vaccine
Right.
in 18 months.
18 months.
18 months pushes you into January
18
of
months.
2022. So what that means is
Wow.
we have to learn right now how to navigate in this environment. There are lots of options. There are many people who urge withdrawal completely, just disconnect, almost monastic-like.
Great.
But that's not what that's not the option that is viable. There are, as I've said before, there are 4,222 approximately degree granting institutions in America, higher education,
Okay.
2-year and 4-year, 4,000. Not 2% of them, not 1% of them are closing. They're opening.
Okay.
So when someone says, well, I just heard about a school that's going to be closed for the fall. Okay, that's one. What's the other 4,221 doing? They're doing the same things Oakwood is doing. They're opening safe. You haven't heard of any SDA schools that say they're
That are
closing.
not. Yeah.
They're opening, but they're trying to do it safely and sanely, following the guidelines of CDC.
Right.
Because we have to accept the reality that it looks like this is going to
be a
be
while.
here a while. And so now we've got to learn how to navigate in this new reality right now. Now, one day it will be behind us. One day. I'm not saying 4 weeks like the president said a few weeks ago. It'll be finished in 4 weeks. It won't be finished
gonna
in 4 weeks.
disappear, right?
No, it's not going to disappear in 4 weeks. But we do have to, as a community, learn how to navigate and to be patient with each other
Right.
as we learn together
Right.
how to navigate this new reality, because it's not going away. I still have to go to, I'm going to call the store, I still got to go to Walmart. I still got to go to Target.
Right.
I still have to go to Publix. Those are the ones down here that we.
Right. Yeah.
I do. I can't live in a bubble, in a
Right.
cocoon.
Not forever.
Not
right?
forever anyway. So that's our new reality. And Eboni, anything you can say to us to help us navigate the new reality,
Yeah.
because it's here and it's going to be here a while.
And that's really talking about the mental health of
The
everyone
mental health
pushing
piece.
through this. Yeah. Can you tell us about that?
I think one advantage we have as Oakwood University in students attending a Christian school is that we have prayer and that we look to a higher power.
Amen.
So that is the number one de-stressor there can be. And we have a ministry in place where the students will be able to go for prayer. They'll be able to tap into that higher power, and Oakwood University is able to provide that.
But we know our mental health counselors are going to be on hand
Oh,
as well.
absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Our mental counselor, they can call in. Call into our health services and request an appointment, and we'll be able to reach out to them. We'll host Zoom meetings, like we said before, for them to be able to de-stress as well.
Yeah. One of the things, and I want to piggyback on what Ebony is saying. One of the things we found is that mental health shows up as we research among our own student body.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the way Oakwood is going about this. As we gather data, we gather information, we do surveys. And our most recent survey conducted by the Office of Research and Grants, Dr. Prudence, in conjunction with the UNCF, there were 3 findings that came back from our student body. 3 findings. Number 1, that they want information about the health and safety of the university.
Right.
Number 2, they want us to know that they have suffered significant financial and mental health
Right.
challenges as a result of living in this new environment. And then the third finding is that what they desire from the institution is constant communication about how the university is responding, what we're doing, what's life going to be like when we come back. So the mental health finding, 63% of the students who were interviewed said, I do feel like my mental health has been challenged. They've been worry, anxiety, fear, concern over finances.
Right.
One student wrote, my father was laid off and my mother was laid off. And I just don't know where the money will come from for me to be able to continue my education. I think I may need to work to help my family. This is real.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
unemployment rate within the African American community because of COVID is somewhere around 17-18% and climbing. And climbing. So we're serving a people group, and it's similar for the Latino community. We're serving a people group for whom we have to exercise special care to make sure that they navigate this crisis successfully. And successfully means financially, academically, and also in terms of mental health. It does.
Right.
So on the mental health side, I appreciate what Ebony has said. Again, we're continuing to reach out to our students as we did our 2 town halls this week, and we're listening. We're listening and responding and are trying to respond in caring, compassionate, and constructive ways.
Right. All right. So, Ebony, any final thoughts or comments you want to make before we close the segment about the reentry plan?
Well, if anybody has questions, they can email health services at ouhs@oakwood.edu or even call us at 256-726-7840.
Go ahead.
That's the health services number.
Okay, and tell us about that app again. I've heard about it a couple of times. What's the name of the app?
So it's a COVID-19 tracker. So we're looking into students that are international. I know some of their concerns where they may not be able to access that same app, but we'll have that information within the week and
Okay.
communicate that to them.
All right, so that'll be
Okay.
coming forward soon with
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
the details about
Yes.
the app and everything. I think that's great.
And
Yeah.
if they have any questions, if you go to Oakwood's website, www.oakwood.edu, at the top banner, there's a yellow banner. You click that, that gives you all COVID-19 related information, and it will be updated with the information for the students, faculty, and staff.
All right, Dr. Pollard, there's one little question I wanted to throw in here because we know that
Off script, huh?
Yeah, off
So
script.
we're off script now.
Well, it's kind of there. It's talking about
Okay.
international students,
Yes,
and
yes, yes, yes.
recently President Trump backed off on not allowing international students
did.
to. So how are we doing with our international students, and is there a different plan, or how are we handling
Well, one
this?
of the plans is that in case these kinds of I almost said the wrong word. In case these kinds of sudden,
Yes.
I was going to say draconian, these sudden kinds of regulations fall from the Department of Education.
Yeah.
As we did before, we kept our international students on campus.
Mm-hmm.
We had about 35 who actually stayed on campus. They could not go home. So, and our residence hall people arranged meals, 3 meals a day for them as they stayed here. So we have a special care. As a matter of fact, I think maybe for Monday we could have Jorge Bartholomew talk a little bit about because he coordinates this area. And I heard a report from him yesterday.
Yeah.
It's very encouraging with our international students. Last night we met with Canadian parents. It was the last night or night before. Bermudian parents one night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night Canadian parents as we talked about these things. So we're in dialogue with our international student community. But as you come, we want to receive you.
Right.
If you have to do it remotely, we have that capability as well.
Right. And they don't have to worry about only doing it online.
No, they don't have to.
They could do.
Well. They never should. Frankly, they never should even try that. They never should have tried that. They shouldn't have even tried that.
All right. Well, we're going to bring it to an end, to a close now, Dr. Pollard. Any other comments you want to make as we close out?
Well, I'm thankful to Eboni and to the entire team in our University Responsiveness Task Force for the work that they have done. Literally thousands of hours of work have gone into this planning work to receive our families.
You can tell.
So I'm very grateful, very grateful.
Thankful so much for all that information that is provided. You can find it on our website or on the Oakwood University website as well. Thank you so much for joining us for this special edition of Inside Oakwood. We'll see you again on Monday.
WJOU Huntsville, 90.1 FM, a broadcast service of Oakwood University.